Hi, it's me again. I was getting ready to upload a video that I made 2 nights ago, and as I listened to it, I'm really bad about not completing my thoughts. um, so let me clarify some things. Um, First of all, I ended it saying, if I have to look like an idiot, my 14-year-old hates that I'm doing this. He doesn't want the whole world to know that his mom's crazy. Like, it's too late, honey. Um, I say it's me again because I'm just me. I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, a daughter, whatever. I'm just me. I don't fit into any little box. I reject any label. This whole identity thing, can we get past that? I mean, are we not all human beings? Do we all not have hopes and dreams and fears, desires? Do we not all pretty much want the same thing? To be able to live our lives the way we want to, as long as we're not hurting anybody. Um, and as I ended, it was talking about my kids. Now, this isn't about just my kids. This is all of our kids. All of our, even if you don't have your own kids, you kids in general. Our kids are in trouble. I saw something the other day. They've lost 20 IQ points. 20. The highest growing demographic of suicide are 11 to 15-year-old girls. So we got to do something. Like I said, we got to figure out, how to. I was just reading on one of the Telegram groups. What do we do? How do we organize? How do we organize? But to complete some of the thoughts that I didn't, I took some notes. We'll see if it actually helps. um, so I started out with how many threats that we are under, and we're under threats from every direction. So what does that tell you? I'd also said that, the louder they bang the fear drum, the madder I get. They're banging that fear drum with all they've got right now. Why is that? Because I had said, I'm a big believer in what you put out is what you get back. They're afraid. Their narratives are falling apart everywhere. Their criminality is on full display. And yeah. So how do we break their fear mantra? Information. One of my favorite YouTubers who actually subscribed, which is awesome, says something about, ignorance being easily cured. And it is. And most people's, their fear comes from their ignorance, and it's a self-inflicted condition. Now, I talked about some of these groups on Telegram. Now, some of these groups, they do have websites of their own. I still suggest that you get on it because there are people organizing there. I'd mentioned Tori Says. Now, Tori, that documentary done by Millie Weaver. Now, the whole AJ and take them or leave them. It's just the information. They did a documentary called Shadowgate. If you haven't seen it, look it up. But it pretty much featured Tori, and I want to say she was military intelligence. It's been a long time ago since I actually watched the thing. But it says she's teaching people to do their own legal work. FOIA requests, affidavits, pro se cases. They're doing writs. If you go to, I just went to, because it's not as easy to look up groups that you're already on when you go to the Telegram search. I just went to DuckDuckGo and look up Tori Says. Tori Says Plus. Or like the channel that I'm on is just capital T, capital S plus Illinois. I'm assuming that every state, TS plus, whatever your state is. But she does also have websites. And she puts on a podcast. Like I said, I've caught a couple of them. I listen. I constantly have something playing as I'm cleaning or cooking or whatever. White Rose, I told you, now they are global, and they do have a website. They're the ones that are putting out stickers, and the stickers are popping up all over the place. Green Dragon is also global. There's Stand Against Tyranny. Now, I know I have an ISAT channel. I think Stand Against Tyranny is nationwide. There's a Patriot channel. Let me look at that. But on White Rose and some of these others, they'll lead you to other channels. And if you're new, if you get on Telegram and you're new, when you see that it's posted by, can you see that? It's not going to come in, is it? You can click on that and it'll take you to whoever, well, it says that account was hidden. It'll take you to the original page that it came from. It takes a while to get used to the platform, but I love it. In fact, I found some cool channels with one's called Interesting Research or Interesting Physics. There's several science channels that just small little things. I've run a geography channel, Real Nature, Patriot Pages, right? My memory is shot. That's one of the reasons I get nervous when I push the button, because it's like everything I thought was gone. Yeah. Aging sucks. And I'm Patriot Pages. And I'm so, I mean, I said I'm squirrely, but I've got so much running in my brain that it's kind of hard to pick something out. I've gone into the Mickey Willis interview. Seriously, if you've got the time, listen to that. If you haven't seen his Plandemic series, they're working on 3 right now. They're worth the time. And then I got into David Whitehead. I think, whatever order. David Whitehead has a website called DW Truth Warrior. He's on several platforms. I listen to him on Rockfin. He's doing the Cult of the Medic series. He also has somewhere way back, if you look through, he's got a Who Owns Everything. That's interesting. You should look at that. But I go into the whole psychology thing, that it being a questionable science. And the reason I say that, okay, my mom is an art therapist by degree. She didn't get to use it because we're in a very rural area and there wasn't much need for that. She worked for the prison system and she taught psychology and abnormal psych and things like that. And then she got into the vocation program. But when you look at some of these psychologists, I mean, they've spent lots of time and lots of money and lots of effort into studying how we work. When you look into things like Calhoun with the Mouse Utopia experiment, or the Stanford prison experiment, the Milgram experiment, Delgado, the one that was putting electrodes in brains, a lot of this stuff has been used to figure out how we tick and how they can manipulate it. You know, why do they put so much effort into that? I also said, look at Peter Breggin. I didn't look up to see how I spelled that, but Peter Breggin, he was the one that I want to say in the 70s, when he was seeing what they were doing with electric shock therapy and some of these others, lobotomies and some of these other just crazy things that they were doing. He spoke out about it. He was speaking to Congress and lots of things that, I mean, to have another perspective, Peter Breggin. There's a guy named Jerry Marzinsky who talks about he's not an actual psychiatrist, psychologist. He's I don't remember what his title is, but he talks about schizophrenia and being in the mental hospital there in Georgia, the at one time largest. He's interesting. But, you know, Freud's nephew, Edward Bernays, if you're not familiar with that name. So here's the thing. I don't know where any of you are. I know a lot of people. I keep hoping to have my family actually click on one of these things. But when you're just now going, hey, whoa, what's happening? Catching you up to speed. You're supposed to, they say, you know, meet people where they are. Well, we're all at different levels of understanding what's happening. So I put a playlist. I added a bunch of stuff the other day to my playlist, Essential to Understanding. Spend some time in that. I know some of my friends are like, people will never watch that if it's over 15 minutes. Well, if you really want to know what's going on, you got to put in the time. And the work has been done. Now, I told you past videos, if you can tolerate my scatterbrainness and listen to them, I'm trying to lead you to places. It just flew out of my head. What's his name? James. Anyway, it'll be back. He did the how did big oil conquer the world and why. One of those is still in my playlist. I think 4 videos have been taken down. They're really crazy about the censorship. Look those up. They're still out there. One of them is still there. The other one you have to find somewhere, but it'll explain everything you need to know. Still the same groups. Rockefeller's a big part of this. I mean, this has been a very long-running plan, and that's people don't understand that. I mean, this has been in the work. This isn't new. This has been steadily progressing for hundreds of years, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that. But you can. I mean, that's part of why I'm telling you. Go to David Whitehead. Watch The Cult of the Medics. Back to Bernays. He is Freud's nephew. He is like basically the father of propaganda and in advertising. He's the one that did the Liberty torches. And anyway, he is the grand uncle to the person that does Netflix. One of the co-founders of Netflix. That's, And last night we watched that Don't Look Up movie. They are mocking everything, but as I was pissed watching it. But as we get to the end, I'm like, that it's such a good commentary on where we are as a society. It's pretty sad, really. Watch it because they are. They're making a mockery of where we are, but we're there. Everybody's so caught up in their own thing. They just aren't. And we have so regressed. I mean, I look at some of the architecture and the things like I said, I've been in and out of rabbit holes for the last 9 years. But some of the architecture that we can't do that now. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we've been so dumbed down. But on the other hand, at one time, until recently, the common man couldn't read. So we can. And all these people that say science isn't my thing, can you read? If you can read, you can figure out what they're doing. When they're talking about the settled science, well, first of all, science is never settled. Never. And when they say that it is, they're either bought and paid for or they're a complete moron. Science, you find new things. You always keep questioning and observing. That's what it is. It may work out to be, but even those so-called laws, I mean, gravity is not even a law. Quickly, the Kazakhstan thing. Now, got into that with the power thing. There are pictures of Joe and Hunter with, there's a lot going on with that. And there was something I saw the other day. I can't remember who it was. I'm getting into the 14th minute. We're definitely not being told what's going on there, but look into it. And Obama's. Both of them have a high position at Netflix. So my whole thing is, what do we do together? How do we, what's going on and what are you doing? What are you seeing? What can we do? We're all in this together, right? It's about all of our kids. Because the kids are in real trouble right now. And together, we can all make this change. No matter where you stand politically, it doesn't matter what our differences are. They are yanking this whole damn thing out from under us. And so far, we're letting them. We can't keep letting them. Much love. We can do this.